This week, we're setting out our 2026 gaming resolutions and looking back at 2025, grading the big three, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo, on the year they've had, who delivered, who struggled, and who quietly smashed it. Plus, we're going to be kicking things off in 2026 with a few little challenges we have up our sleeve for each other as well. All this and more on this week's Pixel Parents Podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents Podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I'm your host, Liam Cutkelvin. Today I am joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker Curry. Scott, happy 2026. How are we?
Happy 2026. We've travelled forward in time. Who could have believed that, that happened on the 1st?
Honestly. Big fat guy came in my chimney. So,
yeah.
It's disgusting.
Fat men coming down everyone's chimney.
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year, you and everyone else. It's certainly been a year. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good. I've at the time of recording and at the time this goes live, this should be the 2nd of January, which I have to say, that should be a holiday for everybody de facto. I don't understand why it's not. Yeah, I always loathe working on the 2nd. I make it my mission to take that off, but I don't know. It just feels like a right to me. Feels like a right. So wherever you are listening to this, if it is the 2nd, I hope you're doing something lovely. And if it's after the 2nd, I hope you did do something lovely and, you're kicking off the year in good fashion. But yeah, manic time of year. We've just been crazy. We were talking about it before we started, just how the schedule looked in terms of when we were putting episodes out. And we thought, bugger it, we'll just put things out. And it means that we keep going every Friday. This train does not stop for any public holiday.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that much. But yeah, it's going to be a good year. I'm excited coming into 2026. Big things, Scott. We have our 100th episode coming up.
We do indeed. Yeah. What episode is this?
93, I believe.
Fucking 7 more episodes. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I know.
I can't. What? March?
No, February.
February?
Yeah, it'll be February.
Rancid.
Next month. We have no idea what we're doing with it yet, but I'm sure it will be spectacular, so stay tuned on that as we celebrate somehow reaching 100 episodes. But
I can't believe that. That is honestly the most ridiculous thing I think you've ever said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's probably definitely more than 100 when you count, if you were to count like
technically
Pixel Reacts and stuff like that. It's definitely more than 100, but the official 100, it's a nice thought.
The official episodes, I suppose. The numbered episodes, is the 100th one.
Indeed.
It's coming up. But yeah, this is the 93rd one, and we've got lots to talk about, Scott. We're doing things a little differently to kick off the year. Kind of similar to what we did at the start of 2025, but we're going to take a look back at just what we felt that year represented to us in gaming, what we'd kind of give them on a score, or not even a score, a grade, A, B, C, whatever you want to give them. And we've also got a little challenges and catch up where we went from last year as well. But before we do, we'll get some housekeeping at the road, shall we? So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. And every Friday, you can listen and see your old dads talk video games on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So please subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not there already, so you don't miss our mugs. And if you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello. Share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support us, join a free Patreon so you don't miss an episode. Come chat with the community and get bonus shows all for free at patreon.com/pixelparents. If you're not there, leave a wee 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. Share it online with your friends. Whatever you do, that really does help us out. We want to give you a massive thank you for continuing to join us each and every week. So, all that out the way, Scott, we ain't going to talk about what we've been playing because we've been sitting, expanding our waistlines and playing what we want for the past couple of weeks. We're just going to kick things off a little bit differently and take a little look back at 2025 in terms of a quick audit. Now, the first thing, Scott, and it's probably the most infamous thing, was a little rule you set for yourself at the start of 2025 in terms of the amount of games you were going to purchase. Remind us how many you said you were going to buy. Limit yourself to
4.
4. And wager a guess, because the fact you've lost count isn't good, right? How many you probably ended up buying? Oh, he's counting. He's counting.
I've bought 5 times that, Liam.
Jesus. And for those that are terrible at math, give me a specific number on that.
At least I have bought at least 20 video games this year.
Wow.
In some way, shape, or form. Aye.
Good.
Which is fucking outrageous.
Man, that is, that's poor in terms of what you said you were going to do, but also excellent.
I went in with the best of intentions, and
You did.
I think that by the time it got to Metal Gear Solid, I was just like, no, I'm just buying everything. I'm buying every single game that ever exists.
100%, man. 100%. I mean, do you think that was the turning point for you? When was it you broke? Because you did start. I remember at least there was a few days when you thought, I can do this. And then it just started to just be, like, it's fine. I'll make the exception. And
I'll run you through the list of games that I have here.
Good Lord.
And maybe you can see when it changed. So, Monster Hunter Wilds, Blasphemous 2, Deltarune, Death Stranding 2, Cyberpunk, had to buy that, Metal Gear Solid, Delta Snake Eater. Right, so that's what? 6, right? And then Silk Song, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Outer Wilds, Red Dead Redemption 1, Soul Calibur 3, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Final Fantasy Tactics, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Absalom, Hades 2, Ball Pit, Stray Children, and Arc Raiders.
Wow. Okay. That is him. I'm quite pleased to say that I've probably only had a hand in a couple of them, because that I would be willing to take that off the penalties here, but I think you kind of went a wee bit ski whiff round about, what was it now? It was round about the start of the year. I can't remember. It was after that little Game Pass clock that came out, round about the Clear Obscure time. And I think that's when you started to go a wee bit, you know what, we'll just dip a toe here, just get something else there. And then when the Switch 2 came, clearly that was it. All bets were off. It's too easy.
I think we already knew, yeah. It was pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. But listen, if I had played 4 games this year, Game of the Year chat would have been fucking awful. So
you could have accumulated them other ways. I'm not saying you could have stole them, but
very true. And not a big enough podcaster yet to get 90% of these games for free. That'll come soon, but
I am sure it will.
I'm not ashamed. There's maybe only 2 of those games that I've not yet played.
Okay.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
That's not bad for you, to be fair. It's not bad.
No, I lie.
All right.
There's more than that. In fact, I'll add another game onto that as well. Hell is Us.
Christ, I keep forgetting you've got that, man.
So do I.
You get that. This is the season, man. January's good for that. It's a good backlog month.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see. I mean, listen, you went in with the best intentions. I need to ask the question, what is it going to be this year, Scott? Because I'm going to go on a limb here. I don't think it's a case of limiting yourself. I'm going to put things a little bit differently here. I think the quest is that you should look to maximise the amount of money you can save on each individual purchase, and then we come back at the end of the year and talk about how much you actually saved. Because that's what I'll be doing.
Liam just wants an excuse for a fucking spreadsheet. That's all you want. You just want the spreadsheet.
Oh, right. God, I do.
What I'll do is I'll compile a list of games that I have wanted to buy at release and how much I bought them for. And then we'll look at that list in 2026. 2026. 4 games. There you go.
It's never happening. Although, to be fair, we've got GTA 6 hopefully coming out, but you've got to wait till November.
Aye. I'll be playing Red Dead Redemption 2 until then, so
True.
That'll keep me busy.
Oh man, yeah, I think, for me, I'm going to just take that approach again this year, which is saving money and hustling for every single purchase that you do make and maximising the amount of pennies saved. I'll try my best to do the same because I do love a spreadsheet. It's one of the few joys in life, Scott. I will literally make a spreadsheet for anything, and I do actually have a spreadsheet for the amount of games that I will purchase through the year. I just don't put prices next to it all year round. At the start of the year, I slack, and then I need to make it a year-long sadness. So I'll do that. I'll see, and it will be bloody terrifying to see how much you've actually spent.
I don't look forward to seeing that at all, to be honest with you.
But the good thing is, I don't have to share that. I could just share how much I've saved. So
that's true. Very true. I'll share both. I won't. Yeah. I'm not hesitant on that. Fuck yous. You can all figure out my dirty shame.
I had a look. I think it was the Nintendo Switch 2, right? It was the Nintendo. They had that thing last year where you could go back and look at every game that you've played hours-wise all the way up to like 3DS or Wii U. And it did make me think, and I looked at my shelf at the same time, like, how much money do you think you've actually spent within the past 10 years on games? And I genuinely had a mental block because it's like, no, you don't want to open that door. Let's just blissfully ignore that and move on, shall we, big man? Because, I dread to think it's a very expensive hobby. But then again, what hobby isn't these days, I suppose? But
exactly.
It's going to be interesting. We'll keep that up the back burner then for 2026. I wish you well, sir. And let's see if we can save as much pennies for Scott as possible. So if we get the deals, or if you hear some deals, let us know, because this man is on a challenge. He's on a quest. Already on a quest
to get my swamp back. I'm not. Do you know what? One thing I'll commit to right at this moment is that I am not buying any game at launch.
Oh, for God's sake, Scott! Every year you keep setting yourself up.
Apart from Grand Theft Auto 6.
Okay, right. I'm going to try and hold you to this. I am not doing that because I'm going to follow hard.
I am doing it because
I predict that you will fail that before the Easter Bunny.
I'll buy it the next day. Then I'm still sticking to my guns on it. But,
okay.
I just don't. It's just never worth it. Like when I look at all the games that I've played this year, I could have bought them a little while later and not crammed them all in. Think about all the games that I would have actually beaten.
Well, true. Well, you did do well. In 2025. You beat quite a few.
I did actually, yeah. I beat more this year than I think I've ever done before.
You were the bastion for beating games on this podcast. I'm definitely the tortoise. You're more the hare. I've slowed down in my old age. You know what I mean?
Just actually.
Can't get it through as much as possible, but there's been a big shift in terms of how much time I've got to play. But I'm also I'm not staying up as late these days. Don't know what it is. I think I just love to fight another day. It's basically the mentality.
You have to, aye.
But then I end up going to bed early and the kids just get me up anyway, and I thought I might as well have just stayed up to 2 o'clock in the morning anyway, but alas, we're here. But we'll run back to the next thing, Scott, in terms of a quick audit on our 2025. So, to balance things out, we set ourselves a challenge to each other in terms of games to play. You passed with flying colours, my dear sir, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. Me, on the other hand, I failed because I haven't managed to beat the game that was set to me. And God, in all honest truth, because I did try many times, it just wasn't clicking with me, hence why I couldn't beat it.
A disgrace.
I'm a disgrace. I am. But that's part of the challenge, because, we always say we don't force it. I really did try with it. Really did try. The game, of course, was Devil May Cry 5 for those that had with us back then, but I really did try, man. I put it in a few times, just trying to start whenever I had those little pockets through the year, and it just wasn't clicking. And over the last month, I've really, really tried a few times. I thought I need to get this done before the end of the year, and I don't know what it was. There was just something about it that just wasn't grabbing me. But I still think there's something there for me. It's a timing thing for me, and who knows? We're entering January.
I do think it's a slow starter. Like I think that you need to sit with it for a little bit, but there is a game there, as you say, and January is probably the perfect time for it.
Aye, I'm hoping so. But you absolutely knocked it out of the park. I set you a challenge that was designed for you to fail. So egg on my face.
Nobody, you can't set me a challenge. I set challenges for myself and I'll fail them. If somebody else sets me a challenge, I'm going to do it. And Liam had tasked me to play, the CD Project Red library with Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3. We got the platinum trophy on The Witcher 3 not that long ago, which is a fucking ridiculous thing to say. And Cyberpunk was done very early on this year, or last year, sorry. So it was a phenomenal time, man. I think Cyberpunk was a tonic at the moment that I needed it most. I think it came along and I enjoyed that from start to finish. The Jackie Wells moment was still fucking lives on with me. I was watching a YouTube video about it the other night, and I was just like, oh, I can still hear myself saying it out loud on the podcast, and the week later, gutted, man, so gutted.
Poker face, I had to hold that moment.
It was fucking disgusting. And The Witcher 3, is still phenomenal. I actually a pretty easy platinum if you follow that guide though, like literally, step for step tells you everything you need to do, as well as the DLC, which we got 100% in every single thing in that game, and I just devoured that. So it was fucking phenomenal, and I'm excited to see what bullshit you throw at me this year. It'll be like fucking Final Fantasy 14 or some bollocks like that. Something absolutely massive.
No,
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
What I will tell you right now, because I'm going to keep it for the end of the show, is it's 3 games I'm setting you this year. Don't worry.
Right. You've got 2.
But I will say they're not as big as the other 2 that I set you. So you're not going to have to spend like 200 hours on this. You could probably get through it in maybe 20 to 40 across all 3.
40. Okay.
That's not too bad.
You have 2.
Good.
One that I think that you'll vibe with more, and one that is just pure vibes. Like it's just I think everyone has to play it, and I think you'll fucking love it. So, we'll get to that later though. Don't want to spoil it for the good folks.
Keep that for the end. Before we jump into like our scorecard for the year gone by, quick backlog check. I mean, you mentioned it there for both of us. The one that got away into 2026 from last year, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I think, could be a good January game for both of us. But any other ones that got away, on your backlog that is just sitting razzing at you? You mentioned Hell Is Us. It's another one.
Yeah, well, that'll be done. You know what I mean? I'm not in any rush to rush through that. The only other games that are really on the list, it's not really games that I've got really much desire to burst through. I've still got to finish Final Fantasy Tactics, so that's still on the list.
Yeah.
Stray Children as well is one that you recommended that I've started and barely touched. Bonanza and Galaxy 1 and 2. I will sit until I can be arsed playing it. I've put Assassin's Creed Shadows on my list, but I'll never play it, Liam. I'm putting it on there just for you, but I'm never going to do it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, obviously, and then Snake Eater. Again, I'm not terribly asked about playing that all over again because I've played it 400 million times in the past.
Yeah, it's such a 1-to-1 remake. I wouldn't even count that, to be fair.
Yeah, so it's that's it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the one that stares at me every single time I open up my fucking PlayStation, though. Yeah,
same here. But that one, it's like probably thinking now's the time for January, because from all everything I've heard, that's like a 70 to 100+ hour game. For me, I mean, I could be playing that for months. That I can't put 70 hours into a game in a month. It's just not going to happen. So I've got to time it right. I think we both do, because it's a big undertaking, because it comes at the cost of everything else. But we've got a little bit of a lull in terms of games we're keeping an eye on, although we should probably come back to that maybe next week. But yeah, I'm also thinking as well, Ghost of Yotei, Scott. It's another one.
I haven't bought it yet.
I'm going to add that to the list that got away, right? I'm going to add that because I think that's one you're definitely going to vibe with big time. I mean, for myself, I did have it at the front of mind there, and I've completely bloody forgot it now. That's great. You had mentioned your list, but there wasn't too many. I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance is top for me, naturally. I still have to beat The Outer Worlds 2. I want to go back and finish the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster, just because I'm a sicko, even though I've played it before, but it's something that I'm just dying to do. Just again, January's calling to me a wee bit, Scott. I need to go back and finish Blooming Rage, Lost Records, so I need to go back and beat that. So yeah, they're probably like the chief ones for me. I need to go back and actually mop up, finish, and yeah, there's one or two hanging over. On top of that, Octopath Traveler 0 is another one. That's like where I'm meant to find the time for all of this.
That's the thing, aye. That's it.
It's a lovely problem to have. Put it that way, do you know what I mean? And I'm quite happy to just have that, still be in that selection box mindset after the Christmas break, like a wee bit here, a wee bit there. But yeah, there's so many other games. There'll be ones I've forgotten about that I've touched, and I'm like, I didn't. Oh, in fact, South of Midnight, that was the other one.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a chance to start that one up, and it's still on my list, as was Atomfall. That was two there. But all I've did, to kind of show you the other part of the problem is I'm a sicko. So whenever I've got a little bit of time to tackle the backlog, I'm thinking, let's go back and replay Expedition 33. Or, I totally could do a new Game Plus run of Spider-Man 2 for no reason. It's just, I don't know what's wrong with me, just because it's there. But yeah, there's lots and lots to kind of get stuck into, and yeah, we're not going to be short of things to play this year, particularly as everybody I'm expecting is going to bottleneck the living hell out of the first half of the year before the big dog arrives, 2026. I'm excited though, because this is a generational year. I'm good. I've been telling people in work for months. I will be off the day that comes out.
Grand Theft Auto's coming out. Then it'll get delayed again and again and again and again.
I know, but it's so big that, the people in my work who are not gamers, they know and totally get sort of GTA 6, they know it, and it's like, that's a special thing. So yeah, looking forward to that. Wonder what the hell we're going to do for it when it releases. Or we'll find the time for it as well, but we'll make time. But then we're going to move on to the main topic of this show, Scott. But before we do, just want to say as well, if you enjoy this show and you want to support us, you can, and it won't cost you a penny. So just join our free Patreon community. Visit patreon.com/pixelparents for every show, chats, and bonus shows, including side quests with Scott. All of them are free all the time, so don't forget to go there. That's pixelparents.com. Or should I say patreon.com/pixelparents. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. So visit youtube.com/pixelparentspodcast. Now, on to the main topic. So, another year gone by. We're a year older, a year wiser, and in your case, a year uglier, Scott. So, so we're going to be reflecting.
I've got less hair than last year.
we all do, mate. We all do. Maybe this is the year we just take a trip to Turkey. Just turn up one week on the show.
You need to take the hair off my arse and stick it to my head.
Oh man, I was saying that the other day. I was like, do you not think a clinic somewhere would just do turkey prices and just start mopping up everybody? You know what I mean?
I think there are options in Glasgow. It's like, not that I've looked, but there are places you can go.
I'm going to turn up one week with a ponytail, just plug the gap at the back there. That's it. Plug the gap.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but back to the matter at hand. I've got totally sidetracked there. Just thinking about doing dodgy hair plugs. Yeah, we wanted to take this time, it's a new year, to reflect on the year gone by, Scott. Again, we're in that time of year where it's all new year, new me, but it's also a time for us to ponder, look back at what we've just experienced in 2025, the highs, the lows, what it meant to us, but we're going to do it through the lens of the big three in gaming. Although some would argue it could be a big four now if you include Steam or something in there as well. We'll see what happens. This is the year of the Steam machine for Scott as well, so we wish him well. But I think to kick things off before we dive into those individuals, what did 2025 mean for you, Scott Curry, in terms of video games?
I coined 2025 the year of the log. And I feel like I made my way through a lot of games this year that were on the log, but also have added to the overall log. So I don't know if that's a success or not. in terms of the industry at large, when I think about the big three, it's almost felt like a little bit of a how to word this correctly. It's almost felt like a bit of a missed opportunity for me. If I had to say that for all three of them, I don't think I would be. I don't think I'd be sort of lying to myself. I think that from PlayStation to Xbox to Nintendo, there has been big missed opportunities for me personally that for some reason or another haven't capitalized and sort of made it a standout year for each company. But there's been a lot of great moments, a lot of fucking horrendous moments, but the big stinky ones, it's probably just a big missed opportunity, I would say.
Yeah, I totally feel you, man. Like I feel like the lows this year stung, particularly. But there was a lot of highs as well. I think, if I put that to one side, there was so many like amazing games, and it was very much year of the indie game. I think like if you were somebody that wasn't really accustomed to dipping a toe in the indie space, you would have had that opportunity last year, which I think is a great thing, and that's probably reflective of the creativity within that space, but also as well the reality of how much it costs to kind of create these bigger tentpole AAA games, or quadruple A if you're wanting to hit the bulk, but all these things. And then when you put on top of that, I think the theme was, how the gold rush of investment in gaming 2025 really did kind of show up, that it can be a bit of a bubble effect almost, that this is a commodity for growth and capitalism first, but the bastion of hope lay within the indie gaming space, which is great. And I think I played more indie games than I think I've done in the longest time last year, which is a testimony to the amount of just fantastic experiences out there. And it's something that I'm hoping to continue into this next year. I am not ever going to be, one is better than the other. I'm very much, I like to have my cake and eat it too. So I'm like, I would much prefer if the indie and the AAA space were both just hitting out tens all the time, because then we're eating good. It's not like, and it's not being corporate apologists, it's just that, there's talented people in both these teams that are making games, and I just want, if they're all doing well, excellent. But put it bluntly, there's one side of that coin that isn't aiming to rip the absolute guts out you to play a game, and that's the indie space. So they're going to get a little bit more favourability just but yeah, honestly, it was a great year in terms of the games output. I think it was the big three all did things that just soured things and made me a little bit worried for what's to come this year and beyond. And that's probably what it meant to me. I felt like it could have been a turning point, 2025, when we come to look back at it in a few years' time. But ultimately, there was still hope. That's all we need, Scott. We just need hope. I mean, look at like Claire Obscure and stuff like that, like a debut game from a brand new team like that, coming out of nowhere and absolutely swashbuckling its way to the top. A total delight. A moment that we'll all cherish as gamers. Whether you liked it or not, you could still appreciate it. That it meant something culturally to us nerdy ass gamers. It's a game. I was saying that to my wife the other day, talking about it. It's like, that is a game that you could go and get something tattooed on, something from that game tattooed on you, and you wouldn't feel like a dick, because it actually carries some weight to the meaning, because it was mature.
It depends on the tattoo, to be honest with you. What would you get?
You would just get Minoko's big face.
Luna's feet.
Luna's feet, yeah. You could do that. Aye. You could get that done. No, you'd probably just get the standard tomorrow comes, for those who come after, that type of stuff. But it resonated, and I think that doesn't happen too often. So for that reason, 2025 will stand out, I think, in terms of the output, because, that is special within itself. It might even make the wall in here. Who knows? We'll see. The wall of fame.
An incredible feat. You're Indeed. Absolutely right, though. And I think you put it well in that you don't have to kind of shoebox yourself in terms of the games that you choose to play. Like, some people will only play indie games, and that's fine. Some people will only play AAA games, and that's also okay. William, you said that you'll have your cake and eat it. For me, I like pizza. I like bagels. I like hot dogs with mustard and beer. I just want everything, and
Yeah.
I just want to engorge myself on all of it. Devolver Digital have kept me busy this year more than I think anyone else has. Like,
It's a good year.
it's an incredible thing, yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's the moments that have soured us that have really put a dampener on the whole year. I would
Yeah.
say a big part of it. Um, it's been a strange old year. You're not even just with the games industry though. Do you know what I mean? Like strange year for the world.
Yeah.
Like
It's
full
only
stop. It's just
only going to
aye,
get stranger. Only
aye.
here in normality, folks. It's only going to get stranger. I'm sitting here googling, how do I move to Canada? But yeah, I think we'll break things down on the big three. I think we'll kick things off with the biggest of the three. Oh, that's not true. I would say the most Apple-like of the three. The one that I would say causes a lot of frustration because of the potential that they have, and that's PlayStation. I think we kick things off with PlayStation, Scott. We'll get to Xbox and Nintendo after this. But yeah, in terms of that, household name, them and Nintendo stand apart.
Mm-hmm.
The PlayStation had a funny old year, and I think the big guy. Let me just catch my words here. Be ideal if we could give a grading. Do you give it an A, a B, or a C, an F, whatever you do, and then just kind of go into it. For me, I would say PlayStation, they get a C for me this year, and that's largely because of the two exclusives that I think really shone through the quality mark and really did carry them. But I'm going to come to as to why it's a C after I hear your thoughts. What kind of grade would you give them, Scott, for third year?
It feels weird going from numbers to letters, Liam. I don't know if I like it. I'm a simple man, I
Yeah,
really am a simple man. It's it's been a tough one with PlayStation because Death Stranding 2 is a potential game of the year candidate. Do you know what I mean? Like it really is. But I've also not played Ghost of Yoti, so I couldn't really account for that. If I'd played Ghost of Yoti and it was, everything that you have said it is, and I really vibe with it, then it could well be a B.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I could go for a B, but ignorance. I can't really blame ignorance for it, but I'd say that the hits have been great, but some of the misses have been big. All the issues with Marathon,
mm-hmm.
like using that person's artwork.
Right.
The Lost Soul Aside coming out and not really doing anything as well. And that's also, on top of everything else that's come out about them at the same time. It's been a strange one for PlayStation, so I'd probably stick with you, to be honest with you. I think that if I'd known a bit more, a B is probably a more a sort of a better reflection of my
Yeah.
thoughts on it, but I'd say a C is as a fair letter for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that come into it. Ultimately, it's just your gut feeling at the end of the day, because this is a purely a subjective score, right? So we can keep the actually mob at bay, but this is just my own feelings on it, which is the games. You had Death Stranding 2, featured very highly, in fact, when's this episode going live? Yeah, that's fine. It featured very highly in our Game of the Year list, which was last week. And you've also got Ghost of Yoti, another game which featured in the top 10 list. So I'm like, there was definite quality there, and PlayStation have got that to rely on. They're kind of like, dare I say, they're a bit like Man City, I suppose. They're just this big, soulless corporate behemoth. But even when things are just a wee bit meandering, they've got like a big Haaland there that can just dig a few goals in. It's like, I want to know. Right, okay. That's probably the best analogy I could give there now, but there's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there that's kind of giving you any reason to look at the future. They can still make, they've got big names all with littered throughout their stable, their portfolio, but they're not doing anything with it. It's not like they're actually, making a big Champions League run here. They're not doing anything, just kind of meandering towards the top. They're capable of more, but you just feel like giving them a prod. And the feeling that I got from PlayStation last year, personally, is that this is a company that's redirecting itself from the Jim Ryan era, but also at the same time preparing itself. So it couldn't have happened at a worse time for things like Concord and all that to go tits up. And then they had Marathon last year getting delayed, which will be coming in just a couple of months now. It's launching in March, but we know that's very likely going to be DOA because it's just you start to smell them a mile off. And I don't know, they look like a company that's preparing for the next gen already, which they should be. But as much as it pains me to say, even though they've had things coming out saying, listen, it's not going to be next year, 2027, I think bullshit. I think you're going to start to see those Jason Schreier, Jeff Grubb type reports towards the end of this year with some tasty specs. I think you're going to get more of an inkling then heading into next year. You're going to get the big launch by November next year, which is pretty much banging the money where it needs to be. Still feels too soon, all things considered. We went through a COVID pandemic and it feels like the game output is still very slow. You got ones like Intergalactic, I'd love to see featuring on the PlayStation 5 before even the mention of a new one comes out. But that's just to name but a few in terms of that. But the biggest offender for me last year, and I'm just going to get the negatives out there before I go back to the positives, right, is that as a PlayStation 5 Pro owner, I still was feeling like I just didn't have enough reasons to get excited about it. And I know that was never, ever what they had pitched. It was purely like, listen, you're a hardcore mug. You want the best of tech, then we've got a very expensive box for you. And I go, yes, please, and clap like a seal. So, more fool me. But there was just that little bit of, it's been a very underwhelming experience so far. And then roughly, I can't remember when it was in the year, the reports were coming out about the pisser upgrade that's due to land this year, apparently. Rumours, if they're believed to be true, which is going to totally change the game. And that's thing, the pisser features, when they work, it's great. When not, the pisser's very underwhelming, Scott. And there's nothing worse than an underwhelming pisser, as we all like to say. So it's something that I think that they could do better. They have the potential to, and I wish them all the best this year because, again, when everybody's cooking and they're firing all cylinders, it's just a great time. So we'll see what happens this year. I don't really have much in terms of expectation. What I will say is a positive for me, outside of Ghost of Yoti, Death Stranding, being absolutely wonderful games, 2 games that I gave a 9 to, is the fact that I felt that the state of play output was pretty strong and consistent. Even like the state of play Japan towards the end of last year, but I felt like they got tighter as the year went on, and that's all I'm asking for because they had went through a patch where they were all stinkers. But and the state of play loves a stinker, I might add. But I'm looking at kind of the cadence of what they went through last year. So I mean, who knows when the first state of play is going to drop, man? But you're going to get one in June, as they always do. Probably one before then. It'd be interesting to see if they can kind of keep that up. And I'd love to see do what they did with that state of play Japan. Maybe streamline it a little bit.
It's worth it. Even Liam, I'm forgetting one of the bigger games for me. And Liam, honestly, why you haven't mentioned it? One of the games that I played on my PlayStation probably more this year than anything else. Baby Steps.
Yes.
It gave me baby steps. So maybe I will bump it up to a B. But you're absolutely right. State of plays, all the different things like that were really highlights for the year. I'd also say that PlayStation Plus has improved as well. Some of the games that are coming up on there have actually been worth getting. We've managed to see some fucking decent games come out for it as well, with Tekken 3 actually coming out and having a decent kind of decent emulation of it, like actually running really well. And from what I've played of it so far as well, like Soul Calibur coming out, giving me that, and Soul Calibur 3 coming out and being a fucking very good port of that too. But even things like getting, the Legacy of Kain series on there, massive for me. And I think that as the year has gone on, you've started to see that I think that they're using it's a certain company that they're affiliated with the whole it's like PCX2, I think it is, or one of the emulators that run PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah.
So that's why you're starting to see better quality emulation coming out, because the emulators for the old PS1 games, like we all played Dino Crisis when it came back out on PlayStation Plus, and it's pish.
It wasn't great.
Just taking a little bit of
Broke my
care and attention and actually like making these games run better, look better for when they actually come back out on PlayStation Plus really sets it up. And 2026 has all the makings of being, a blockbuster year for PlayStation Plus. I had no idea where I'm getting this information from. I'm just saying it because it's content bait, but it really does. You're starting to see some of the big hitters come out.
Yeah.
In 2026, if we haven't had a year free of siphon filter games, then I don't know what I'll do. If another siphon filter games comes to PlayStation Plus over something that I really want, I will vomit into my hands, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm sick of fucking seeing them, but it's just I'm actually I've a little expectations for 2026 for PlayStation, but things like Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, like the build up for that coming out, having the information about all the different characters coming out, who they are, what they do, is going to be amazing. Like there's no better thing than being a fighting game fan when you have all these games announced and everything coming out alongside it, and all the other fucking shit that's going to come out throughout the year as well. It's going to be a good year. A good year to be on PlayStation.
Aye, that's all we can hope for. We'll remain optimistic. But I'm going to move on, Scott, to the direct rival of theirs. Which one will it be? I'm going to move on to Xbox. I think it's time we talk about Xbox. We spent a lot of time talking about Xbox last year.
Yes.
Because, hey, this content ain't going to make itself. Maybe we stopped short of doing big shocked faces with an Xbox headline on YouTube all the time.
I hate that. Why is that a thing? Like random fucking face going, oh, and it's like,
you'll not believe this.
I couldn't believe this. It's like, fuck off. Shut up.
I know. Who knows? We should just do a joke thumbnail for this episode with just your face looking really shocked, with the words "fuck off" written next to it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Scott, I might. Speaking of shock and awe and clickbait, and this isn't any of that, but it might shock you. I've had a real think about Xbox because there's a lot to weigh up here, and there's one big, massive negative, which is Xbox corporate. I should say Microsoft, but in terms of the output and my experience of playing my Xbox last year in 2025, I'm going to have to give it a B. I really am, because I'd be lying to myself if I said otherwise. And it's one of those ones where I had a great time throughout the year playing my Xbox, the most I've ever played my Series X since getting it. And I experienced some fantastic games on it. And I loved being within that ecosystem. Something that's kind of reignited my love for playing Xbox over the past year, which I've not had for a very long time. And it is largely because for the longest time, Game Pass was hitting. Man, it was hitting. And then they had to go and ruin it all by doing something stupid, like saying fuck you, and it's going up. It's going up in price 50%. But despite that, Scott, I feel almost begrudgingly giving it a B, because I have to recognise that the output that I've always wanted from that was finally there. So that's my honest thoughts on it. But we'll get into the whys after. What is your grade? And I know it's going to be an F, but what is your grade?
It's harsh. I mean, I think it's hard to disagree with you. I think that, from the outside looking in, I agree with everything you've said. And in terms of output, in terms of what Xbox have actually given us this year, it's a B. Like when you factor in all of the games that have come to Game Pass, the games that you can play, Expedition 33, didn't buy that, managed to play that on there. Ninja Gaiden 4, didn't play that, managed to play that on Game Pass. Even trying things like South of Midnight, The Outer Worlds 2, like actually being able to play like Doom the Dark Ages without buying it, great. And before the bad things happened, it would have been a fucking A+ year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We'd be looking
yeah.
at an absolute fucking standout year for Xbox, which is something that they've needed in 2 generations. Do you know what I mean? Like it's taken them almost 2 generations to have one good year. It's been pretty ridiculous.
I know.
And even things like, you know, bringing Sea of Thieves, and I know that I'd probably tail end of last year, but even just continuing that run with the Gears of War Rechained or some bollocks, whatever it was called. Talking about Halo coming to PlayStation, and actually kind of getting down to brass tacks with what this all means, this play anywhere thing means, is we've started to see that develop as the year has gone on. The Xbox Ally, ROG Ally X and S coming out, you know, whether you've bought that or not, is a good thing for most people. But Liam, I didn't buy it. Like it's not for fucking me. So I think that from an output level, it is a total B year. But I think personally, I can't see past the failings of Xbox this year. Do you know what I mean? Like I
absolutely.
can't see past all the cuts, all the people that they've let go in preparation for fucking AI
Bullshit.
bollocks.
Yeah.
And I can't see past the fact that they've brought out a handheld console when I don't want it. Now that's just me, and this is my score. So see if you're
Yeah,
listening to this and you disagree,
yeah.
eat my fucking balls. But I think that and the games that they brought out, like South of Midnight, great, people loved it, but it was shite. It was pish. Like there's a reason why there was a reason why they allowed you to skip combat, because it was Boz. Worlds 2, it didn't vibe with that either. I thought that was so fucking boring as well. I'm sure there was Doom, didn't enjoy that either. So there was games sprinkled through the year that if you're an Xbox fan, you'll have all those games. Then yeah, great. Oblivion, not for me. You know what I mean? So like looking at the face of it, the greatest part of this year was the fact that Xbox gave me Expedition 33. That was it, and I could have played it on PlayStation. So I think if I look at it in its own merit and on my own thoughts, it's a B year for anyone else, but for me, it's a C.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Well thought out. I think, like, you know, yeah, in terms of the output, right, it's been fantastic, right? So for me, there's been a lot of games that I've wanted to play on Xbox for the first time in a long time. And there's been a lot of games I've just been encouraged to try. You know, you had Avowed at the start of the year, which I've sat with a bit. Again, 7 out of 10 for me at best. South of Midnight was one that's on the list, as I mentioned before, but it's one that I'm still, like, I want to go back and experience that, because I want to experience the world that they had built, because there's more to it than that for me. Down the Dark Ages, was lucky enough to get that to review on Xbox, but otherwise I've been playing that on Game Pass anyway. Loved it. It was a great experience. Then there was other things, you know, like the Xbox Game Showcase was absolutely fantastic in the summer. But don't forget, this is all predating when they absolutely shat the bed. So yeah, you still had, you know, Indiana Jones DLC coming. They had like Gears of War Reloaded getting unveiled at Worlds 2. You had other things at the time you were unsure of, like Call of Duty Black Ops 7. You had other things in there for lots of different titles for people to kind of explore on Xbox, which was a rarity. And of course, they announced the ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X, which at the time was going to be exclusively Xbox optimized. But now the Xbox full screen experience has been launched so to other handhelds. Unless I've always been upfront about it, it's like I couldn't justify the hustle at the time. If I could, I'd be sitting here with one now, because I think it's very much targeting me and you, actually, I would say, in terms of, you know what, dip a toe in your PC gaming space for the first time, and that's the next frontier. It's about how do these companies convince the yous and me's out there, Scott, and our listeners who aren't already, to get onto those ecosystems and play anywhere and all that stuff. And Xbox want to just be everything to everybody all at once. And if I could hustle it, hands up, I'd be having one just now, no bother. But couldn't quite justify it. But we'll see. I might just, you know, go on OnlyDaz and sell pictures of my ass or something like that. We'll see what we'll do. But then you had, it all went to shit after that. You know, the second half of the year, like you mentioned, the layoffs, the big project cancellations, things like, Perfect Dark and all that, getting absolutely shit canned out of nowhere, shutting down the initiative. There was so much stuff that had came, the Everwild as well got absolutely destroyed. But then at the same time, me personally, I was playing things like Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 Remake at that point in the summer, which is a pure summer game for me, which was amazing. It really did that kind of define my summer this year. So it was a bit of a, you felt bad, I suppose. That's the only way you could describe it, because we are paying attention. The average gamer wouldn't have a fucking clue what would happen, but we are. You had like Gears of War Reloaded in August. I remember playing that, which is good to go back. Something I still wish we could go back and play co-op, Scott. I still hold out hope for that day. They didn't. The earlier in the year, I've been forgetting. What am I saying? Like the Oblivion Shadow Drop was an amazing moment, but then the third party stuff with Claire Obscure and Blue Prince, two of the best games that I played last year at nowhere on Game Pass, which I'm like, that was amazing. And without Game Pass, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to really go and buy and play it because I couldn't be asked. So you had all these things as well. Outer Worlds 2, still go back and finish it. Then you had like the usual Black Ops 7. Obviously, it's an off year for it, as we kind of felt at the time. But that's just going to keep coming towards it. But for many gamers out there who do purchase Call of Duty, again, they're like, but you know what? I'll go and do that. But at least that would have been before they did the big massive price increases as well, which was just that's the thing that sticks in my craw. They finally managed to get an output right. The dominoes, as we said for years, it's like, this is going to pay off one day. And they increased the price to UK for Ultimates with £22 per month, which is a big chunk of cheddar to leave passively, which is why we always say now on the show, if there's something that looks good on Game Pass, dip in and get it for that month. Get in, get out, infiltrate, exfiltrate, basically, but you can't afford to just let it run. Unless you can, in which case fair enough. But we wouldn't advise it if you're going to do that, unless of course you're able to do so. But there is still tremendous value on there, particularly for gamers of all ages, and you'll still get the good exclusive. They've just made what was the best deal in gaming not so much the best deal in gaming. That crown now goes to us for our Patreon, which is the best deal in gaming, Scott, which you can get everything for free. That's never stopped working. I'm like The Rock, you know what I mean? Always be shelling. Goosebumps.
It's true though, aye. No, you're absolutely right. I actually spent a wee minute there actually looking at the Xbox outputs for this year, and I forgot about games like Keeper, things like that. I'd actually also forgotten that they'd cancelled Perfect Dark and the Initiative and things like that as well. So I mean, I could go lower, Liam. I could go lower. And it is, it's probably the company where I feel least confident in them in 2026. We're looking at a year where Gears of War, the E-Day thing, amazing. Cannot fucking wait for that. But a Halo coming out next year, I couldn't give two fucks. I could not care less about it. Xbox is being more expensive than ever before. Paying for the subscription to an Xbox Game Pass is going to be even more expensive than ever before. And, the fact that they're coming out now saying that, it's no longer just going to be a gaming device, it's going to be more like a pricey high-end PC. It's like, I don't know if that's particularly what I want from this whole thing. And it's kind of felt like that as the months have gone on with the release of the ROG Ally X and what that's going to look like next year in terms of when they bring out their own handheld and how the year's going to sort of frame itself in terms of the games that are coming out. It has to come out. Is it like a developer direct this month or something? Yep. So that has to...
It's a big year for them. 25th anniversary, isn't it?
Knock it out the park from fucking minute one, I'd say.
You're going to see it, I think, with it being an anniversary year for them, because they've kept things back. It's probably not going to be the stuff for Scott Curry, if I'm honest.
It's an F then.
An F year for you, but
it's for me.
I think they are going to have to come out swinging, but there's a big part of me, and I hate to admit this, that looking back on Xbox's 2025, I'll almost view them as the canary in the coal mine. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that this is an exclusive thing an Xbox problem. I just think they've gone first. We mentioned this. We had an episode last year, the big cost of gaming chat, right? Go back and listen to that. Always be shilling. But it's joking aside, I believe I remember saying something along the lines of, one of my predictions for 2026 is that Nintendo are going to come out towards that start part of this year and announce the price increase. Going to get Christmas out the road, and then the tariff stuff's going to hit, and it's going to be America in that first, but that has a wider impact on the rest of the world. And then you're going to see, like, Sony have still to properly blink on that. And I think what they've done is they've taken a calculated loss, and they're also looking to try and, my gut's telling me they're just let Xbox take the flak, whereas they've got right in front of it because they're big corporate. They've got the deepest pockets of them all, but they're the quickest to react. Nintendo being second, and Sony, like, they have piss all compared to the other two. But it's I think I hope I'm wrong, but I just feel that this is the new norm is really going to be felt this year. At the time of recording, we have no idea about things like the Steam machine and stuff, but the rumours leading up to it is that it's going to be way more expensive than you think, even though it feels like it's an open goal. And Xbox is going to, instead of be the outlier in 2026, become one of the many. Whereas they're all like, do you know what? These things are just ridiculously expensive. You're talking about high-end PCs there, Scott, like with the new Xbox. We see the impact that AI is having on these PC components and the price of them that's getting absolutely skyrocketed. Building a PC is becoming more expensive than ever. And yeah, it's a quite a weary time. And you hate to think, but there is a possibility, it's not outside the realms of it, where when everything settles, Xbox Game Pass becomes again one of the cheapest options there. Right now it's not, but it's like I do fear that that's the future we're heading into. But we'll wait and see. I hope I'm wrong. Let's put it that way. I do hope I'm wrong, because it's absolutely bullshit, because it shouldn't just be for the wealthy new games, you know what I mean? That should not be the case at all. So yeah, it is what it is, but it's going to be interesting going into 2026 with it being an anniversary year. I wait with bated breath to see if it gets any better. I'm hoping we just don't see any more of those big swearing cuts this year, and they can just have a year of stability, because they've got the pockets to do so. There's no need for them to be knee-jerk like that, but they've got to make the money back on those acquisitions.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see. But time for us to move on to a more cheerier chappy there for 2025, say, Scott, and that is Nintendo. Favourite by kids big and small, including ourselves. I've, off the bat, right, I think 2025, it was wonderful to watch Scott Curry rediscover a love of Nintendo that wasn't there beforehand. It was a bit like the scene in The Grinch where his heart grew 3 times larger.
It's just my arse.
It's just his arse. I think I'm going to just keep it brief. I'm going to give Nintendo an A. I'm going to get to the Y after, but I want to hear your thoughts, man.
I'm not. I'm going to give them a B.
Ooh, do go on.
It's purely because the games that they've brought out haven't been good enough.
For you?
No, I'm going to just leave that hanging. Good Mario Lord. Kart World continues to disappoint, everyone. Metroid Fusion, or Metroid Beyond, whatever it is. Metroid 4 Beyond, whatever the bollocks it's called. I'm saying Metroid, Liam. Do you get it?
None that's never played it.
No, but I'm going off the fucking public perception of the game, right?
Well, that's always good.
The only game, the only game that people seem to really love is Donkey Kong Bonanza. And Liam, having played Donkey Kong Bonanza, I don't see it. I don't see the hype with it. And I think that alone is what's holding this thing back for me. I think that 2025, launch year of a Switch 2, needed more than a Donkey Kong Bonanza. It needed something bigger for me. And it's telling that the bigger games that I've played for this year on the Switch 2 have not been made by Nintendo. So, when have you bought a launch console for Nintendo and not bought a Nintendo developed or fucking published title? like with Zelda or a Mario or something like that, and like fully really enjoyed it. So for me, it's a bit disappointing that way. But for what it's lacked in, you know, those Nintendo games, it's fully made up for in everything else that it's brought to the table. The Switch 2 is a fucking delight to play.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal wee handheld to hold. The fact that it runs these games at all still shocks me. You know, playing Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade on that console and being like, how is this working? Like, this should not be happening. Like walking about with Cloud Strife in my pocket, I'm like, I don't really know how that works, but it's incredible, and it really makes me excited for what next year brings. You know, we're talking about indie games in 2025 and 2026 could be an even fucking bigger year for indie titles, and I think that that's what the Switch 2 has become for me. You know, Hades, Absalom, Ball Pit, Demon School this year have been huge on that. So I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing for what that console has done. But as I say, I've just been a little bit disappointed by the Nintendo official parts of it. So for that, it's a wee B for me.
Aye. Well, I mean, that's fair enough, man. It's fair enough. I think I've given it an A. And I echo what you say. I think you're bang on in terms of like a big part of it is the hardware part, the Nintendo Switch 2 launch. A delight. I think that's the perfect way to describe it, Scott. It really is. It's such a fantastic wee machine. You know, well, at first I was thinking, you know, am I going to miss the OLED screen? Is it going to be, you know, comfortable to play, battery life, etc.? And it's ticking all those boxes. Like, I don't actually miss the OLED. Yeah, it could be a bit brighter at points, but that's just me being fussy. The screen's gorgeous on it. I think they did a great job with that LED screen that's on there. It's one of those ones that I'm playing more games than ever before on the Switch. You know, I was thinking back on it this year from the moment I had the Switch 2 to now. It has been like such a mainstay, and it's not only reignited the love of Nintendo, but for handheld gaming, that need something that's capable within the palm of your hands, the power of sun in the palm of your hands, Scott.
I love the fact that this whole show has just become Spider-Man references. We had a back to formula like in an episode recently. Love that shit.
Gonna keep doing it, man. But the thing about, let's take you through the run of the year, right? So, you know, from the start of the year, where they very much just announced in January the Switch 2 officially, with the very much like, here's the first look at it, and you'll kind of get more in April. That was fantastic. There was then, you got your Pokemon Go presentation in the February, but we're all really just waiting. Remember, they had that Nintendo Direct in March before it. We're thinking, what is it? And it was kind of like the last hurrah for the Switch, and shockingly, it did have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond on there. Just because I think we'd all just assumed this is just going to be a Switch 2 game, is it not? We were still unsure. Then you get to April, and then you're starting to get the sauce, which is the Switch 2 showcase, effectively. And they announced there it's going to announce in June, and then it all started to kind of wobble a bit in terms of what price is it. Mario Kart World was announced, etc. And then the pricing that started to kind of wobble out. And it was basically the confirmation and the scuttlebutt. The first real downside was the pricing around Mario Kart World itself, that being the £80, I believe. And it was like they're basically trying to incentivize people to buy the bundle, because you would save money on the game if you bought that and the Switch 2 bundle at the same time. Bit cheeky. What I'm surprised at the end of the year is that they hadn't done more of it, like more £80 games, because at first I was thinking, right, Christ, that's it. Then the pricing's still confusing. You know, you had like DK Bonanza that was follow up after the launch that came out at a lower price point, and even like Metroid Prime 4 and so they've not really hit that yet. It remains to be seen if they're just keeping that for like the S tier ones. But come back to that game in a minute. We get to the launch in June alongside Mario Kart World. I was lucky enough to pick that up on launch day, and what a buzz it was, man, because it reignited the love of family gaming in my house. You know, just playing that with my son and even my wife. It was like that was thing like we would just get a couple of, you know, Grand Prix on Mario Kart before we go to bed, and I was like, all right, okay, no bother, because people turn up for Mario Kart. And despite it having a bit of a, I don't know, lackluster reception, particularly on the hardcore, it's still Mario Kart, and it's still a great fun time when you're racing with people. Is it the best Mario Kart you'll ever play? No. For me, I still preferred 8 Deluxe, if I'm being brutally honest. But it was still something there, and it's still played every week without fail in this house since it's come out. So, I mean, I know like that's a cool thing to witness. Like, that's my kid's Mario Kart, effectively. So yeah, there's that as well. But then you had, obviously, for me, it was DK Bonanza, something I wasn't really expecting much from. Blew me away, gave it a 10, one of my favourite games of the year, and I absolutely loved it. And it's still something that's played today in this house, which is great. And then you kind of get towards the end of year for me. You know, you had like the Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, as you mentioned earlier, Scott, which was awesome. And you had like a few more big games announced as well. The Super Mario Bros. 40th anniversary was a bit of a damp squib. You know, it was a disappointment of the year for me. I think they could have did more with it. We both agreed on that. And yeah, they just kept on kind of just drip feeding stuff. And then the indie titles was on there, such as Hades 2, Absolem, Ball Pit, all these games we picked up on Switch 2 just kept it going, ticking over. Then I get to the end of the year with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which for me was just such a big tick, but that was obviously playing to my nostalgia and love that I have for that series.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
Liam, there's two games, sorry to interrupt you, just while I've got the thought in my head. There's two games that both of us have completely failed to mention.
Shoot.
Pokemon, ZA, and Kirby Air Riders.
Yep, two games I have no interest in.
But that's the thing, so that but it's like, it's just, you know, shite. It's just like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But sorry. Continue.
But it's true what you're saying. I mean, it's ultimately like Nintendo just felt like a place to be, the place to be in terms of all those the big three for me. I had the most fun playing on the Nintendo, and it was all thanks to the Switch 2. They did that in 6 months because beforehand my Switch was gathering dust.
Yep.
And it wasn't a good thing. I mean, I've got Shrek horns here. You know what I mean? They engulf the old Joy-Cons. And then the first time picking up the Switch 2 has that nice, slightly matte feel to it. And I'm like, oh, you've grown up. This is something that's for the adult gamers, because it's not something I'd comfortably buy for a child. It's not something I'm comfortable with the wee man actually, playing in handheld, because it feels like it's bigger, it's a bit more weighty, and it can break more easily. So, it's something that I would prefer to just play in docked, to be fair. But that experience, just that little, the wee tweaks, 120 frames per second with Metroid, 4K output in the docked, it all adds up, man. It's just a much more pleasant experience to play. Something like Hades 2, as you mentioned, that was the thing that convinced you to finally go pick it up and playing that portable. I mean, your number twos have never been more fun, because of that. So, I mean, that's something you got to thank.
How do you know that?
Nintendo. He confided in private, people. But yeah, for me, it's an A. Yeah, I totally understand why you give it a B, though, but I think for me, it's that. And I look forward to seeing what the next year brings for Switch 2, but 2026 brings in particular, because who knows, man. But I think there's so much possibilities there. What's the Zelda project going to be? Do they double down on Mario with the Mario Galaxy movie coming out? We know we're not going to get a mainline Mario. We're probably going to get a side-scrolling one at best from somewhere. Will it be Mario Kart World DLC? That's probably going to be a low point, given the price of it. So, there's so many things in there, and there's so many things that they can introduce on top of it as well, Scott. And
but Liam, there's one game that you haven't mentioned again.
Shoot.
And it's the only game that in 2026 really matters for Nintendo. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam.
True.
If that game finally hits Nintendo in 2026, it's over. It's over for everyone. Yeah. I am abandoning life. That's going to be that's my blueprints for next year. I can't bloody wait for it.
I know. I mean, I love Professor Layton and its pomp. They probably released 2 or 3 games too mmany for me, to be honest, because they did start to get a bit samey at points. But that's like any other ones. But I think as well, it was just a different time of life. That's all, just a different time of life where you start to kind of move away from the DS and point. But yeah, I'm also wanting to see more in terms of what to do with Nintendo Switch Online, particularly the GameCube expansion on there. But it's like, we're gamer parents, we've got a big chunk of our audience there who also have little ones. And the Switch 2 is just such a sound investment if you're wanting to just play games as a family. There's something there clearly for everybody, and it just feels great to play on it, man. Couldn't recommend a Switch 2 more if you were thinking about it. And, probably spring before my prediction comes true where they jack up the price, particularly if you're in America. So yeah, I hope that doesn't happen, but I just got a bad feeling, Scott, in the pit of my bones. But yeah, all in all, we're walking away there. Pretty.
I don't think so. I can't let that slide. I don't think that's how you say that.
No, I just changed it at the last minute. Well, I could say how Scott does it, but I'm not going to, so I just can't bring myself to do it. But yeah, all in all, man, good mix there. A's, B's, and C's all round. For 2025, pretty decent year. I mean, this year, let's face it, it's all about who can make the most success, staying furthest away from Grand Theft Auto 6. That's the name of the game this year. So we'll look on to see. But in terms of, I want to wrap things up quickly, Scott, because there's no Pixel Pitch Showdown this week, so we've just got a few other things before we get to the last juicy challenge of the year. But any personal gaming reflections? Like, how did you feel about how your relationship with games was in 2025?
I feel like I've been open to try more, I've played more games this year that I would have never ever touched in the past. Things like Fallout, things like Outer Worlds, I've managed to play those. Even like, a couple of things on the Nintendo Switch, maybe a bit more like that. But I'd say that this has been the year where I've really taken to like the platinum grind more than ever. Like the fact that we're sitting here beginning of 2026 and I have a platinum trophy on Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is a fucking disgrace. An absolute disgrace. It's going to look even better that in November, Red Dead Redemption 2 will also have that beautiful trophy next to it, because I'm going to fucking do it, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to happen.
Wow. Oh, God.
So me and Arthur Morgan are going to go on a journey, and I cannot fucking wait for it. I cannot wait for it. But it's been a year of variety, I'd say. A year of openness, and something that I hope continues on to this year.
Yeah, and then that's very well put, Scott. I think that's what I'm looking to do myself this year, which is to have a bit more variety, explore more of what I don't really play. But also, I think last year was a good lesson in just kind of playing at pace.
Yeah.
And skipping the FOMO a little bit more, because I wasn't burning through games as fast as I usually do. And I want to spend a little more time and carry that forward into this year and revisit a lot of old classics. Just like you mentioned, Red Dead 2. And I had some of the best fun I did last year just replaying games. I replayed Red Dead 2 at the start of last year as well. And there's things like, the only thing I didn't do in 2025 was do my annual Arkham replay, because it was just silly season for me. I usually do it around my birthday, so it's absolutely daft around August. But I'm wanting to do that and just kind of really just, sit and just play at pace and not rush through things and continue that. I feel like I'm entering that era of gaming. We do get the chance to play games and talk about it for the show, but it usually does kind of fall neatly into what time we've got, because I've never been in a spot in the past year where I'm playing like 5 games at once. You know what I mean? At best, it might have been like 2, but I always kind of finish well, move on to the next, and if it's not clicking, just move on. I just want to kind of keep that going into 2026. But in terms of the big hopes, Scott, this is an obvious one, right? But what we're most looking forward to this year, I've put down here, like, obviously GTA 6 is top of the tree, right? An absolutely gargantuan number, but we can't talk about this year without really focusing on that, can we? Like, it's going to, the time is going to stop. That's like Scotland at the World Cup and GTA 6. Like, those are 2 things that are going to be ingrained in your memory when that launches. What's your plans for it, man? Like, is it, obviously we're way ahead of time here. It could still get delayed, probably will, to be fair. But I would really love to just if I could, I would just love to have the day of release off to actually just sit and properly just immerse myself in it. Something I was able to do with 4 and 5. And I think it requires that if possible. Otherwise, I'm going to be miserable and mopey because I'm a big child. But yeah,
I could want to play it.
this is pish.
So for me, it's day off immediately. You know,
Yeah.
take the wee one to school, and then it's just straight in. You know what I mean? Even playing it the night before, if it actually unlocks at midnight the night before and comes out, then playing it from that moment. Wake up in the morning, take her to school, and then that's me for the rest of the day until evening, and when I'm not bothered, and that'll be fine. But from what I have learned with playing Red Dead Redemption 2 again recently, is that taking your time, and even with the platinums for the rest of the Grand Theft Auto games as well, is that taking your time and actually exploring the world, it has its benefits. You know, we're all too keen on farting through these games at 100 million miles an hour just to give context and to give updates for people. And to be honest with you, we're guilty of doing that with certain games, and that's fine. But this isn't going to be one of them, folks. Like, I will be taking my time through this as much as possible. If I'm not still playing this by the end of December, it's a fucking crying shame. I think that, you know, there is nothing better than a brand new release of a Rockstar title.
Yeah,
you know, it's, and I know we're all shitting on Rockstar because of, you know, union busting and all the other bollocks that's coming out with this news, but you know, if this game comes out and it lands well and it continues to hit from what we know about Grand Theft Auto, then it's going to be landmark. It's going to be ridiculous. And I think that just take my time with it. I don't really care if there's any other games coming out those months. Man, fucking don't
be daft. Honestly, if they were thinking about it, push it to the start of 2027. I think that's my expectation. I mean, one thing I'm not looking forward to is the, you know, a phrase I use all the time here now, contrary Marys. Like, I think you're going to get, I know the creators that are going to come out and just hate on stuff for the sake of it, and it won't just be like GTA, it's going to be like any game that has any bit of clout, just to be different, and I find them exhausting. I think for me, 2026 is going to be just to kind of weeding out these more clickbaity, you know, shock and awe type creators out of my feeds. I won't name them shame, but there's a couple that still just trickle up every now and then with the big shock faces and all that. And it's just like, more than ever, I think it's having a valuable discussion about how people genuinely feel and not having that pressure to just be perfect and, you know, the most knowledgeable person at all times, and not also to be the most bougie with your game takes. Like you said, the stuff that's happening with the union busting thing is bloody awful.
Mm-hmm.
To the average gamer, though, it just reminds me that somebody like Rockstar are like controversy proof at times.
Yeah,
it's mental because it's like anyone else.
But they're big enough to be like, you know, talking about it like in government and stuff like that as well. You've got, you know, Keir Starmer talking about it and talking about how they're going to look at it seriously. I was listening to a podcast recently with an American host, and they were bringing up Keir Starmer, and genuinely I was like, what? Like, are you fucking talking about that? But it's just it's taught me two things about this whole process, Liam, is that how big Rockstar are that this will make news, right? But also how little people who don't follow game news will care about it. Like, will just blindly buy this without even thinking about the controversies of it, thinking about the issues that have come through the development of it. Is that Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto are a big enough company and a big enough series that people will buy it regardless. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true, man. Like, it's a strange one, but it's something I look forward to seeing unraveling, and who knows what's ahead of us this year, man.
Indeed.
But it's another year. It's going to be hijinks aplenty, but let's close things out here, Scott. So we talked about it at the start, the challenge for this year, in terms of, we like to set each other just a couple of games that we say you've got all year to play it, and come back to us and tell us what you think. Scott, who wants to go first, you or me?
I'll go first. I'll give you my two, because I ruined one the other week.
I'm going to write down here what you say. So
the first game that I want you to play is Deltarune.
Okay.
There is no better time to be a Deltarune fan because Toby Fox is hard at work on the next chapter, but there is a game there that you, if you give it time and you start to actually like listen to the story, go and talk to all the characters and stuff, there is a story there that you will love and that you will vibe with. It is sad, it is heartfelt, it is hilarious, it is mental. It's just so good that there are highlights in that game that top things that I've seen this year. And honestly, it's a phenomenal time. It's cheap as well, and it's a perfect game for the Switch too. Wink, wink. So it's definitely better than that. And I think that it does a lot more than what Undertale done. Like, I think that Undertale was quite divisive in terms of the way that you completed combat and the way that the game controlled. It was quite limited, but this just takes everything and amplifies it. And all the characters together just come together in such a way that it's a fucking phenomenal experience. So Deltarune is number one.
Cool.
I also want you to continue on your journey with Final Fantasy, Liam. Okay. This year was a standout year for one game, and that was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But the games that game has DNA littered through it of a certain Final Fantasy title. And that Final Fantasy title is Final Fantasy X.
Okay, I thought you were going to say
that. It is genuinely, Liam. And use a guide, use whatever you need to do to play it. But even on the Switch, again, it'll be an excellent thing to have handheld. It is.
Is it on the Switch?
Yeah, you can get it on Switch. Okay. They've got the remastered version of it, so it's even better. But you've got like the different modes in it where you can play it 2 times as fast and stuff as well. So if you want to cheat or if you want to play it fucking really quickly, then you can do. But I genuinely think there's a world where you really enjoy Final Fantasy X. I think that is I was shocked with Final Fantasy VII, but Final Fantasy X is enough that there are moments in it where you'll be like, oh my God, what is this game? But there are also moments in it where it's like, holy God, what is this game, man? Like the characters together, that cast of characters just live with you. Auron, I tell you, you'll look at that man and oh my God, there is like nothing else. Just an absolute fucking specimen. And the story's phenomenal as well. I think that genuinely there's a story, there's a timeline here where you vibe with Final Fantasy X, and I would like to see it happen.
Okay, you're on. I'll add in. So Deltarune and Final Fantasy X for the year. Okay. So I've got a few. I've got 3, as I mentioned, Scott, but they're not big ones. But you can blast through these things quicker than I ever can. So first one, and it's one you played before. I want you to finish this one to really understand it, because it's one that you need to spend time with it. It's a slow cook, but when you get to it, delicious meal. And that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Setting it for you, Scott, because it's a fantastic game, and you will really appreciate it if you just go along for the ride, and it ends up just being, if it was an Indiana Jones movie, it would be second best on there. I'd honestly believe that. Come at me, internet. Next one is a smaller game, one that I remember absolutely devouring at the time, and you didn't beat it. I actually don't think you played it. You didn't get to it. And that's Death's Door. Putting that on there, because I think that's one that you are going to vibe with big time. Not a long game, but one that you'll easily batter through that in a week or so. If you could get it on Switch, even better, because it'd be perfect on handheld. And speaking of which, the last game I have for you, Scott, is one. This is almost a gift that I'm giving to you for the year. One that I think that when the maybe tough moments in life, and you just need like kind of like a warm comfort blanket to kind of be like, it's okay, I've got you. And that game is Power Wash Simulator 2. I need you to finish the career on that and come back to me. Just you go on there and you just put on some tunes, whatever, and just watch the Zen experience unfold. I
can't believe you've done this. Cannot believe you've done this.
I have to find that any way possible to spread the good word of Power Wash Simulator 2, Scott. A wonderful time, a religious experience, and one that you'll come to enjoy. you can enjoy it any which way you want. Some people like to play it without music. Some people like to put it with a podcast. Whatever it is, it's good. It's really good. So you'll enjoy that, man. But yeah, good challenges ahead this year, man. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Power Wash Simulator. Oh, God.
At the end of the year, Scott will know the way, and he's going to be up here preaching the good word of Power Wash Simulator 2 by the end of 2026. That much I can guarantee. But yeah, it was here's to a wonderful year, Scott. Wonderful Indeed. 2026. Wherever you're listening, I hope your year's getting off to an absolute flyer, and you're doing something cool for this last weekend before we go back to normal on Monday. Boo. But yeah, that does bring us to an end of the first podcast of the year. So thank you once again for joining us, and remember to support small independent games media out there. So if you like what you hear and you enjoy the podcast, please share on social media and tell your friends about us, or leave a wee 5-star review. Whatever you do, that helps us out and it makes a massive difference. And please remember to join our free Patreon community at patreon.com/pixelparents to support the show. The test time, Scott, where can people find you online if they want to keep up to date with your conversion to Power Wash Simulator 2 this year?
God, that'll be the game I start first. I'm available on Blue Sky at llamaman.bsky.social. I'll be power washing Shrek's anus by the time you hear this.
Lovely. And you can find me at carmelite.bsky.social. There is a Shrek DLC on the first Power Wash Simulator I should add as well.
Oh, fuck.
It is outrageously good. But a massive thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and handsome and wonderful Mr. Sean Murray. Please go show him some love. Check out his work on Instagram at Bare Hands Designs and barehandsdesigns.com. And you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms. Follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. Wherever you are, like, share, subscribe, and play some damn games. That's all we ask you to do every week. But until then, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
Piss is stored on the balls.